In the shadows of our everyday lives, there are stories that linger, tales of encounters with the unknown that spark both fear and fascination. Today, we delve into the realm of the paranormal, exploring real-life experiences of survival against the supernatural. This video is dedicated to those who have faced their deepest fears and emerged with invaluable lessons about resilience and strength. As we share these haunting narratives, we aim to shine a light on the psychological aspects of fear. How do we respond when confronted with the unexplainable? What can we learn from those moments that chill us to the bone? Each story we recount today is not just a tale of terror. It is a testament to the human spirit's capacity to confront and conquer adversity. In a world where the line between reality and the supernatural often blurs, our exploration will take us through chilling accounts of survival. You will witness how individuals have navigated their darkest hours and emerged transformed. By the end of this video, we hope you will find inspiration in their journeys, understanding that fear, while daunting, can also be a catalyst for personal growth and healing. Join us as we embark on this journey through the eerie and unsettling, where each story serves as a reminder of the strength that lies within us all. Story 1. The encounter with the poltergeist. Our first story takes us to a quiet suburban home where the Johnson family had always felt a sense of peace and security. That is, until strange occurrences began to unfold in the depths of their home. Initially, it started with small, easily dismissed incidents. Toys moved from their places, whispers echoed in empty rooms, and a chill would suddenly envelop the house, raising the hair on the back of their necks. At first, they shrugged it off as mere imagination, perhaps the product of an overactive mind or an innocent draft. However, as these seemingly innocent occurrences escalated into loud thuds, objects inexplicably flying off shelves, and doors slamming shut on their own, it became evident that something far more sinister was afoot. One particularly haunting night, the family settled in for a quiet evening. Suddenly, they were jolted awake by a violent crash coming from the kitchen. Heart pounding, they gathered their courage and ventured downstairs, only to find the dining chairs thrown across the room as if swept by an invisible force. A deep sense of panic washed over them. This time, fleeing wasn't an option. They were determined to confront the unknown that had invaded their sanctuary. They reached out to a local paranormal investigator who, upon visiting the home, the investigator guided the Johnsons through a series of rituals aimed at communicating with the spirit. What they discovered was both shocking and enlightening. The spirit was not a malevolent presence. It was the restless soul of a young woman who had lived in their home decades prior. She had faced her own tragedies, leaving her spirit trapped between worlds. Instead of viewing the entity as a threat, the Johnsons chose to empathize with her. Through this journey of communication, the Johnsons transformed their fear into compassion. They held vigils to honor the spirit, lighting candles and sharing stories about the home and its past. This experience taught them that sometimes the unknown is merely a cry for help. As the disturbances lessened, they emerged not only with their home restored, but also with a profound understanding of the power of empathy and the human spirit's capacity to heal. Story 2. The mystery of the forest. Our second story unfolds in the depths of a dense forest, where a young woman named Sarah decided to embark on a solo hiking adventure. An avid nature lover, Sarah was familiar with the trails in her local area, often finding solace amidst the trees. However, on this particular day, she felt an unshakable sense of unease, a feeling that something was amiss. As she ventured deeper into the woods, the air thickened with tension, and an unsettling silence enveloped her, amplifying her sense of isolation. After a couple of hours, Sarah realized she had lost her way. Panic began to grip her as she attempted to retrace her steps, but the forest seemed to shift around her. The familiar trail had vanished, replaced by twisted branches and an ominous darkness. As the sun dipped below the horizon, the temperature plummeted and the stillness morphed into an eerie quiet, leaving her utterly alone in the growing darkness. Just as despair began to take root, she heard a faint whisper calling her name, seemingly carried by the wind. Instead of succumbing to fear, Sarah took a deep breath and recalled her survival training. She focused on staying calm, anchoring herself in the present moment and conserving her energy. Using her phone's flashlight sparingly to navigate, she followed the sound of the whispers, believing they could guide her back to safety. As she moved cautiously through the underbrush, the whispers grew louder, revealing a path she hadn't noticed before. After what felt like hours of wandering, she stumbled upon a clearing where a group of campers had set up for the night. They welcomed her with open arms, sharing food and warmth, and her harrowing experience transformed into a story of survival and hope. Sarah learned that fear can indeed be a powerful motivator. It forced her to rely on her instincts and adapt to her surroundings, ultimately guiding her back to safety. This experience left her with a deeper appreciation for nature and an understanding of her own strength in facing the unknown. Story 3. The Ghost of the Old School. Our final story takes us into the dimly lit halls of an abandoned school, a place steeped in mystery and local legend. A group of adventurous teenagers, intrigued by the tales of hauntings surrounding the school, decided to investigate the site one fateful evening. Armed with flashlights and a spirit of curiosity, they entered the crumbling building, unaware of the supernatural encounters that awaited them. As they explored the darkened corridors, strange noises echoed around them, soft footsteps, distant laughter, and an overwhelming sensation of being watched. Initially, the experience was thrilling, and the adrenaline surged through them as they dared each other to venture deeper. However, as they pushed further into the building, the atmosphere shifted ominously. One of the teens, Mark, felt a chilling touch on his shoulder, freezing him in place. When he turned around, he found himself face to face with an apparition, a ghostly figure of a girl in an old school uniform, her expression a mix of sadness and longing. While his friends panicked and fled, Mark stood still, caught between fear and fascination. Instead of running away, he felt compelled to engage with the spirit. "Why are you here?" he asked, his voice trembling yet steady. In that moment, he felt an emotional connection, a deep longing for companionship and understanding radiating from the spirit. Rather than viewing her as a threat, Mark began to see her as a lost soul seeking recognition. As Mark interacted with the spirit, he discovered that she had once been a student at the school who had met with tragedy. Her unresolved issues had tethered her to the building. By the time he left, Mark had transformed his fear into a profound empathy for the spirit's plight. He shared his experience with his friends, encouraging them to see the situation from a different perspective. Instead of viewing the ghost as a fearsome entity, they could empathize with her story and recognize the pain of those who felt unheard. The group left the school with a newfound respect for the supernatural, understanding that fear often masks deeper emotional truths. Each of these stories exemplifies how individuals confronted their fears head-on, turning potentially traumatic experiences into opportunities for growth and understanding. Through their journeys, they discovered the transformative power of empathy, showing that our encounters with the unknown can reveal profound truths about ourselves and the world around us. To gain deeper insight into the psychological aspects of fear and trauma, we spoke with Dr. Emily Carter, a clinical psychologist who specializes in anxiety and trauma responses. According to Dr. Carter, fear is a fundamental human emotion that can serve as both a protective mechanism and a source of distress. When faced with the unknown, our brains often react with a fight or flight response, which is hardwired into us for survival, she explains. In cases of paranormal experiences, this response can be amplified. The stories we just heard illustrate how individuals can find themselves in frightening situations that challenge their understanding of reality. Fear can be paralyzing, Dr. Carter continues, but it can also motivate us to confront and overcome our challenges. For those who have faced supernatural encounters, the initial reaction may be one of terror, but as the stories show, many individuals ultimately transform that fear into a powerful tool for personal growth. Dr. Carter highlights the importance of context in understanding these experiences. People often seek explanations for their fears, especially when confronted with phenomena they can't easily rationalize, she states. This search for understanding can lead to a variety of coping mechanisms. In the case of the Johnson family, for example, their decision to communicate with the spirit allowed them to process their fear in a constructive manner. Reflection on fear understanding. Fear from a psychological perspective provides valuable insights into why we react the way we do in stressful situations. When we encounter something we cannot explain, such as a ghostly figure or strange noises in the dark, our brains may trigger a range of emotions from anxiety to panic. However, as Dr. Carter points out, confronting these fears can lead to significant personal development. Facing fear head-on often leads to resilience and a better understanding of oneself, she notes. In reflecting on our previous stories, it's evident that fear can become a catalyst for action. Sarah's experience in the forest forced her to rely on her instincts and resourcefulness, leading her to safety. Similarly, Mark's encounter with the ghost prompted him to shift his perspective from one of fear to one of empathy. By engaging with the supernatural, he not only found a way to connect with the spirit, but also discovered more about his own emotional landscape. The process of confronting fear also allows individuals to redefine their limits and capabilities. Whether it's through physical survival in the wilderness or emotional resilience in the face of the unknown, these experiences can alter our self-perception and foster a greater sense of empowerment. In conclusion, understanding the psychological implications of fear is crucial for anyone facing daunting experiences, particularly those of a paranormal nature. These insights help us to recognize that while fear can be overwhelming, it also presents opportunities for growth and self-discovery. Embracing our fears rather than fleeing from them can ultimately lead to a deeper understanding of ourselves and the world around us. As we reflect on the stories shared in this video, it's evident that the journey through fear and the unknown can lead to profound transformations. From the Johnson family's confrontation with a restless spirit to Sarah's harrowing experience in the forest and Mark's empathetic encounter with the ghost of an old school, each narrative highlights the resilience of the human spirit. These individuals did not merely endure their encounters, they chose to engage, to understand, and ultimately to grow. The psychological insights provided by Dr. Emily Carter reinforce the notion that fear, while a powerful emotion, can also be a catalyst for self-discovery. By facing their fears head-on, the protagonists in our stories learn not only about the supernatural, but also about their own capabilities and strengths. Each of them emerged with a greater understanding of themselves, illustrating that confronting the unknown can reveal valuable truths. As you consider your own experiences with fear, we encourage you to reflect on how these moments have shaped your perspective. Perhaps you faced your own challenges that seemed insurmountable, only to discover the strength within you to overcome them. Remember, fear is a universal experience. It's how we respond to it that defines our journey. We invite you to share your stories of survival and how you've navigated your fears in the comments below. Building a community where we can support and learn from one another is essential in transforming our fears into sources of strength. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the eerie and unsettling, and remember to subscribe for more inspiring content that encourages growth through adversity.